Hello everyone, welcome to Learn and Code. In the last session, we have started the topic called type conversion. I said that type conversion is also known as typecasting. What do you mean by typecasting that we have discussed in the last session? It is nothing but the process of converting an object of one data type into another type. And we discussed that there are two types of typecastings, or we can say type conversions. The first one we have discussed is implicit type conversion, and second one is explicit type conversion. I said that when we talk about the implicit type conversion, the conversion is automatically taken by the system itself. That means the Python interpreter. Now, when we talk about the explicit typecasting, in that the user involvement or forcibly the programmer is going to convert one object of one data type into another type by specifically writing the type of the object. That is called explicit typecasting. Now, in today's session, we are going to talk about the operators in Python. First, we will discuss arithmetic operators. Next, we go for the relational operators. And finally, we will see the logical operators. So before moving on to the various types of operators, let us first we will discuss what actually mean by the operator. Next, operand. After that, we are going to start the topic of operators. Let us discuss. Before moving on to arithmetic operators, or we can say the types of operators in Python, let us discuss what actually mean by the operator. After that, we will discuss operand. Now, let us define operator. An operator is nothing but any specific symbol. Remember that it is any specific symbol which is going to perform an operation. Where it is going to perform an operation? It is going to perform an operation on operands. This is the definition of operator. Where the operators and operands are available, the operators and operands are available in an expression. This is very, very important. That means when we talk about an expression is the combination of operators and operands. Now, the symbol is going to perform the operation on operands. Now, let us discuss what is mean by an operand. An operand is nothing but a variable, or we can say it is a value. It is a variable or value on which operation is to be performed. That is very, very important. Operation is to be performed. This is the definition of operand. Now, if you take an expression, for example, C is equals to A plus B, this is an expression. Now, A, B, these are known as operands, and C is also an operand. What about this symbol equals to and plus? These are known as operators. Operators are going to perform the operation on operands. So here C, A, B, these operands are nothing but the variables. If you take another example, D is equals to 2 plus 3, for example. In this case, 2 is the value and 3 is also the value. So the value 2 and 3 are also known as operands. The operation can be performed directly on values or variables. So that's why I said that operands may be either variables or the values on which some operation could be performed. So this is about the definition of an operator and operand. Now we are going to discuss the types of arithmetic operators in Python. Now let us discuss arithmetic operators one by one. The first arithmetic operator we are going to talk about is unary plus, or we can say simply addition. This is the first operator, unary plus, or we can say addition. The name of the operator here is simply plus. And second one is unary minus, or we can say subtraction. Subtraction. And third one we are going to talk about is multiplication symbol star. This indicates the multiplication. After this, the fourth one we are going to talk about is the division operator. After this, The fifth one, we are going to talk about the floor division, or we can say integer division. After floor division, the sixth one we are going to talk about is modulus. We call it as modulus symbol, modulus, or we call it as percentage. And seventh one, we are going to talk about the power operator, or we can say, instead of taking power operator, we can call it as exponent operator. That means total how many operators are there? There are seven operators. So first operator is plus, second operator is minus, and third one is multiplication, fourth one is division, fifth one is floor division, and sixth one is modulus, and seventh one is exponent. These are the seven operators which are available in Python. We are going to discuss one by one with an example. Now let us discuss what actually mean by the unary operator and binary operator. See here, before going to give the examples for arithmetic operators, let us discuss what is mean by the unary operator. And second one we are going to talk about is binary operator. Binary operator. I will explain why we are talking about this unary and binary. If you take a plus, this will act as unary operator and binary operator. If you take minus, the same thing will act as unary operator and binary operator. Now we will discuss what we mean by the unary operator. An operator is said to be unary operator if it takes or if operates, if the operator operates on only single operand, then that is called the unary operator. If the operator operates on two operands, only two operands, that we call it as the binary operator. For example, if you take plus, it will act as both unary and binary. For example, when it is said to be unary operator, for example, here I am taking plus 20. What is 20? 20 is the operand and plus is the operator. Now the operator is operating on only one operand 20. So that's why this is called unary plus. When you talk about the binary operator, for example, here we are saying 2 plus 3. Here the operator plus, same operator, here is plus and here also plus. But here it is working on only one operand. But in this case, this plus operator is operating on the first operand 2 and second operand is 3. That's why it is called the binary operator. So this is the difference between unary operator and binary operator. Similarly, if you take minus, this also acts as unary and binary. If you take minus 10, this operator minus is operating on only 10, one operand, that is called unary minus. If you take 3 minus 5, this operator is operating on 3 and 5. That's why it is called binary operator. If an operator operating on more than two operands, for example, if you take three operands, then that is called a ternary operator. So mainly we are going to talk about the unary operators, binary operators. Ternary operator is also there, but we are not going to discuss the ternary operator now. So here I clearly explained the distinction between the unary operator and binary operator. Now we will see one by one with an example. Now we are going to discuss the first arithmetic operator, plus. Okay. Now let us go to the Python shell interpreter. This is the Python prompt. At this place, let us give x equals to some value 10. Now take another variable y and you say y is equals to place of x. You can say place of x. If you print y, the value you are going to get is 10. This is the output of y. For example, instead of saying x equals to 10 and y equals to place of x, you can also say x is equals to 10 and here y is equals to plus of x. This is also valid. So when we try to print again y, again the answer is 10 only. For example, if you take x equals to, assume that minus 10, minus 10. And if you write y is equals to plus of x, in this case, when you try to print y value, you are going to get minus 10. This is the working of the unary plus operator. Similarly, if you use binary operator, for example, just say that x is equals to 2 plus 3. So in this case, simply whenever you print x value, so the value of x is 5. This is simple binary operator, whereas this is a unary operator. This is the way of using operator plus. Now coming to the second one, we are going to talk about the minus. It is acting as a unary minus at the same time. So binary subtraction. Let us take the same example, go to the prompt. Now here assume that we are using x equals to minus 10 and you say the variable y is equals to minus of x. In this case, when you try to print y, you are going to get the answer 10. Why? Because minus of, when you say y, its meaning is minus of minus 10. So minus of minus is nothing but plus. So here we are getting 10. This is how unary minus will be function. If you take another other example, if you say x equals to 20 and if you take the variable y equals to 10, now assume that here when you try to print x minus y, then you are going to get the value 10. This is simply subtracting y value from x. This is an example for unary minus as well as binary subtraction. Similarly, when we go for the third operator, here we are talking about the multiplication. It is only binary operator. It is not a unary operator. We are talking about only it is a binary operator. It is simply used for multiplication. See here, just if you say 2 into 3, now we are going to get the output 6. Similarly, you can give any example, x equals to 3, and if you say y equals to 4, and if you say simply z equals to x into y, when you try to print z, you are going to get answer 12. This is simple multiplication. Now, when you go for the fourth one, here we are going to take this division operator. It is not an integer division, it is an ordinary division. When we go for ordinary division, for example, if you take x equals to 10 and y equals to 20, now when we try to write x by y, now the output we are going to get is 10 by 20, and here we are going to get 0.5. It is going to give the real value, float value. X by y equals nothing but 0.5. If you write the same thing like this, y by x, then we are going to get not 2. Okay, it is going to give the 2.0. Please remember, whenever we use the division operator, it always gives the float value. When we divide two numbers, always it yields the real value, float value. Okay. Now, when you try to use the fifth operator, that is called floor division, as I said that this comes under the integer division. In this case, for example, just now we have taken x equals to 20 and assume that y equals to 10. When we try to use this integer division x by y, in this case, we are not going to get 2. Here we are, sorry, we are not going to get 2.5. Here we are going to get only 2. The result is 2. Now, if you use y floor division operator x, that means y is 10, 10 by 20. So here it is not going to give 0.5, it simply gives 0. So this is the definition between the ordinary division and floor division. Floor division gives only the integer part, whereas ordinary division gives the real value. This is the difference between the floor division and ordinary division. Now coming to the sixth one, we are talking about the modulus operator. That means percentage symbol. So what is the modulus operator? It is similar to floor division, but it gives the remainder. For example, if you give x equals to 10, like previous example, y equals to 20, when we try to use this operator x modulus symbol y, then what it is going to do is it is going to divide 10 with 20, 20, 0 is 0, and then 20, okay, we are dividing 10 with 20. You divide 10 with 20 with 10, and the remainder is 10. So here we are going to get 10. The remainder here we are going to get is 10. Similarly, if you use y percentage x, that means 20, and you are dividing with 10, 10 2 ja 20, the remainder is 0. In this case, the remainder we are going to get is 0. Here the answer is 0, here the answer is 10. This is how the modulus operator can be operated or is going to work. Now the last one is we are using exponent operator, or we can say power operator. If you use an example of this like this 2 star 3, the meaning of 2 double star 3 indicates that the number 2 is raised to 3. That means 2 to the power of 3. Here the answer is 8. This is the example for the power operator. Okay, now we are going to see the important terms which are mainly used while evaluating an expression. The first one we are going to talk about is precedence, and second one is associativity. Associativity. Now, let us discuss with an example. Okay, we are going to discuss with an example what is precedence is and what is an associativity. Let us discuss first precedence. Let us take an expression like this: c is equals to a plus b by 2. This is an expression, and assume that a value is 10 and b value is 20. That means c equals to a plus means 10 plus b is 20 by 2. Now, what is the output of this c? See here, we have operators plus and division. When we have operators, multiple operators in the expression, which operator is evaluated first, either plus first or division first? This order is given by precedence. This is very, very important. The precedence determines the order of the operators in an expression, how the operators are evaluated when we have the multiple operators. This order or hierarchy is given by the precedence. Now, according to the precedence rules, if whenever we have plus and division, the first preference will be given to division and second one is so. This is the precedence rule. Now, in this case, what happened? First division is executed. That means 10 plus 20 by 2, the division gives 10.5, right? After performing the division operation, next perform plus addition operator. That means we are going to get the result is 20.5. That's how the result of C will be evaluated. This is what I mean to say precedence. Simply remember that it determines the order of the operators in an expression. That's all. Now, what do you mean by the associativity? Now we are going to talk about associativity. Associativity also determines the order when we have the operators have the same precedence. That is very, very important. For example, just now I said that plus and division. Division is having the first preference, first precedence, and plus is having the second precedence. When we talk about the plus and minus, both are having the same precedence. When we have the operators in an expression which are having the same precedence, then how to evaluate those? The order of Evaluating the operators which are having the same precedence is nothing but associativity. For example, let us take this C equals to A plus B minus 10, for example. Let us take A equals to 5 and B equals to 2. In this case, C equals to 5 plus 2 minus 10. If you take here, how many operators are there, plus and minus? I will explain the precedence rule. So plus and minus are going to have the same precedence. When we have same precedence in an expression, when we have the same operators of the same precedence in an expression, then how to evaluate, whether right to left or left to right? So associativity says that when we have the same precedence of operators, then better to execute sometimes left to right or sometimes right to left. Right? That is very, very important. Finally, I can conclude that precedence determines the order of the operators, where the operators are having different precedence or different hierarchy, right? Whereas associativity comes into the picture when we have multiple operators of the same precedence. In that, it is going to determine the order. So with this, I'm going to close the session. In the next session, we are going to discuss the remaining operators. Thank you for watching.